Beautiful people all celebrating the Black experience.
Biggest Black history marketplace in the UK.
Hello!
This is a phenomenal event.
Black Power!
Very excited to be here. Sick, absolutely sick.
Warm welcome to everybody. We have arrived at this very pivotal hour again. And I just wanted to reflect also on the recap that my co-host shared with us this evening, because last week we were blessed to hear from a man who, as we discussed during the interview, you know, he has been successful successful helping 28 individuals becoming, millionaire earners. That's not to speak for the ones who are earning 500,000, 200, or 250,000, 100,000, etc., etc. But I don't know anybody who is, apart from this person, who has actually started a business and within 2 years helped 28 individuals to reach 7-figure salaries. That is remarkable. So when you are fortunate and blessed to hear from men and women of such caliber, please do not take it lightly, because this is not a series of East Enders. This is an opportunity for you to come weekly and extract the nuggets from successful people. We bring no one in front of you who hasn't achieved what they're talking about.
That's right.
We don't dreamers on this platform. We bring achievers and those who have accomplishments, behind their names. So all concerned, their reputation precedes them. And as we're discussing the importance of networking, because as Mr. Clayton Ford mentioned last week, your network is measurable, because it determines what your net wealth will be, or net worth will be. So network, net worth, network, net worth, and the more intelligently we network is the more we will grow into having friendships in all walks of life. And when you know someone of influence in all areas, there is not too much you cannot achieve. If you know the judge who's presiding over your son's case, no, I'm only kidding. But influence goes a long way.
Very long.
Hey, family. So with that said, I remember back in the days when we used to travel very frequently to the US. Sometimes we'll be just at the checking-in gate. And because, the name would be Muhammad, and people would say, "Oh, are you connected to such and such?" "Oh, yeah, he's my leader. He's my teacher." It's like, "Oh, okay." So the ticket for economy gets torn up. And then you find yourself in business class.
Come on.
So what was that? That's influence, right? Being connected to someone who's loved and respected can definitely rub off on you, So network, net wealth, because that upgrade was more important than money. You know what I mean? It was influence. And people, you'll be surprised the amount of discretion that people have. Many a times people don't help you because they don't want to. Okay, but most of the time people have a lot of influence, and if they want to use it to advance you, you'd be surprised how quickly you can go up certain ladders. You can get up to the top very quickly if people decide to use the credit of their influence, you know, to advance you or to advance me. So tonight we have a very, very special guest, homegrown here in the United Kingdom, very special guest, our brother Andrew Lindo. And our brother Andrew Lindo is the author of Black History Activity books. These books are aimed at children and are based around the lives and contribution of historical Black figures such as Marcus Garvey and Rastafari, etc., etc. He is also the founder of Black History Activity Book Expo, which is an annual event held in the city of Birmingham, UK, where businesses of all kinds and organizations from the UK and beyond gather in one central place for community to have direct access. The expo includes stores, food hall, a conference facility, all under one roof. And this event has been independently funded by our brother Andrew Lindo from its inception, because when you have a vision, you have to be the first one to invest in your own vision. And your commitment to your own vision forces the commitment of others. Now, attendees to this conference have traveled from as far as the USA to attend, and his annual attendance, you know, is in excess of 3,000 attendees. So while Andrew, our brother, continues to bring out new titles for his collection of books, the Expo has proven to be such a success and indeed an asset to the community that it has taken up a life and direction of its own. So the network which Andrew Lindo has built has vastly contributed to his impact and success. His reputation precedes him. So without any furthering, I want to introduce to you and present to some of you our brother Andrew Lindo. Please take your device off mute and receive our special guest for this week's episode of Spiritual Injection. Warm welcome, brother Andrew. Warm welcome.
Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Welcome, brother Andrew.
Welcome to Spiritual Injection, brother Andrew. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Brother Hakeem. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here amongst minds. I'm thankful to be alive today and to be able to do the work that I do. So let me put that straight. I don't know where to begin. For a person that didn't like networking, I think I've got a bit of a story to tell. But I've really learned the importance about how your network is your net worth. And it's not about your network as well. It's about putting them to use. It's about actually using them, because I think for a long time, what my problem was actually not utilizing the people and the resources that I had around me. And you don't need to do it all by yourself. And there is like that 6 degrees of the separation. Once you start to move and work, it's more like 2 degrees or 3 degrees. It really starts to shrink. So yeah, if you want me to continue, shall I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what do you think is at the root, brother Andrew, of the apprehension that we have, that we know people, we've got their details in our phone, but sometimes we're apprehensive to call them, and it was the reason why they gave us the number in the first place was for us to utilize the number, right? So what do you think the nature is of this apprehension that we have?
I think it's so multifaceted. I think it's beliefs that we've taken on from our parents, especially parents from the Caribbean, like are very independent and don't really want to ask anyone for help or anything. So I think if you got that's passed down, which is generational. I think it's confidence as well. And I think it's sometimes insecurity. to look to feel like you're less than to ask from somebody, but it's not we're less than. It's more how they can complement us and how we can complement each other. So I think, you know, because of our nature and who we are as beings, I think we do have that element of being a king or in our own right. And sometimes you want to take that whole kingship on and the whole of your people with you. So you want to do it alone, and you feel like it's going to make you half a man to ask somebody. But I think it's things that we have to adapt and learn along the way. I definitely have. I was always
so why is it then that we don't mind asking someone for a cigarette, okay? But we struggle with leveraging up. You know, sometimes when we're going down and something is, you know, not worth really having, we find a gore, you know. But when it comes to leveraging up, we seem to because I take all of your points that you mentioned, and they're all very valid, you know, and I agree with them. And I think, you know, is a great response. But then the thought came to mind that sometimes we're quick to ask for silly things. But when it comes to valuable things, we're apprehensive.
I think it could be something so basic as just the ego saying we don't want to contribute anybody to our successes, and we want to do it all on our own back. Because it's crazy, but we do that. We ask for so much simple things. But like I said, things like this are so multifaceted as well. It's because sometimes we don't want to burden people. Me, for myself, I'm a person that's very independent. I've been brought up to be independent, and I've been brought up not to depend on anyone either. So I feel like we kind of take on these mammoth challenges because we don't want to burden anyone, and we don't want to put nothing on them. Because a lot of the times what happens is when we do ask for help and we are being vulnerable, asking for that help, people don't tend to help in the way that we want. And when it's help, sometimes it's very half-hearted, and people can leave you in a worse position than they started. So sometimes I think, unfortunately, we're still learning, or I think at one point we learned, we used to work together, and I think along the way we've lost it. And I think now we can see the emergence of we're coming back to work together again. But I think there was a point where we definitely lost unity, and I think it's building that back. I think that's very, very important.
Yeah. So tell me, Andrew, and us by extension, what was the trigger for you to start writing or authoring the great books that you have authored, and then to start, you know, the annual Expo?
I had the idea for a very long time. I've been a graphic designer for almost 20 years now. And at one point, I used to do a lot of work for the public sector, and through my network as well, which got me that work. And I was commissioned to do some characters. They wanted characters from all across the world to be represented. So I did it, and they loved it. I had people from the Dogon, I had people from the Caribbean, I had ancient Egyptians, I had everyone in there. They wanted me to focus on ancient Egyptians, so I did a series of characters, and it was based around math. So what I did is I started to use the characters in a practical way. So the Dogon would be counting the stars, and it would be based around astrology. The Egyptians would use mathematics and sciences, and I did small worksheets that they could give out to the children at school, because it was for Wolverhampton Education Authority. And when I seen it, I was like, this is powerful. But previously to this, I had been doing a free magazine, which was to promote and highlight some of the unseen heroes and positive role models in the area that had not been seen. Because I thought it was very important that we saw positive role models that we could relate to, that was very relatable. Because I think that's a thing as well. I think going back to a thing that I heard where people say not all skin folk is kinfolk. Right. And that's going to be, you're not going to relate to certain people, especially for some certain children in certain neighborhoods. So I wanted the magazine to be reflected as something where people could relate to who they're reading about, so it could really inspire them and say, I'm like that person. That person's from where I'm from. I can achieve, if they've done this, I can achieve it. But the problem that I found with the magazine is that I kind of went at the wrong age, because I went for teenagers and young adults, and trying to teach that demographic about positive role models. Their mind is somewhere else. They want to get girls, they're finding out who they are in life. So it probably didn't hit them as much as I wanted it to, but the idea I thought was good, but I thought it would be better if I could aim it towards younger people. And that's where, when I did the activities for the council, I was like, yeah, this is it. We could do like an activity book, because I learned that doing fun-based learning is the best way for people to retain information. I knew it would be fun, I'll be engaging, and it'll be on some of our heroes that are unsung that some people don't even know about. And truth be told, I didn't really know about, because I learned a lot as well doing the books and by having to do research, because we hear these names, we hear Marcus Garvey, we hear Rastafari, we hear Santiwa, Queen Nzinga, but do we know what they did? Do we know their plight? And I just thought it was an excellent way to kind of teach our young, because at the time there was a petition going on, and some sisters had the great idea of wanting to get Black history into schools, but on further research, they didn't have anything to give those children if we were successful to get Black history into schools at the time, that there was no resources. So for me, I saw that as a problem, because I was thinking, you're fighting for something, but then are you going to wait for the same people that are teaching you to teach you about your own history? And to me, I just thought that was crazy. So instead of, I think sometimes what we tend to do is we worry or we moan about what's wrong, but there's no clear solutions in how we can change that. And as a graphic designer, I'm a problem solver. So for me, I automatically think, how can we solve this problem? And it was by creating these resources and having them out. And once I created them, I saw there was a genuine need for them. So that's how.
And I think, and what I'm extracting from what you're saying, I was having a conversation with a mutual friend of ours just before I came online, and there's an area of development that we're trying to tackle, and we identified all of the flaws in this particular area. But the conversation concluded that in order for this to be fixed, you and I have to do it. The problem exists because you and I have to fix it. And I thought that was such a mature way of looking at it, because you can either criticize a thing, and you can find all the holes in everything. But the question is, are we willing to fix what is wrong? So talk to me about the enormity of fixing this problem.
I don't think I
stumbled into.
I don't think I can fix that problem, but I think collectively, I heard the speaker talk about us being like a diamond that's been shattered, and every single fragment is a different light reflection. And we can only do what we can do. So for me, you take on the task that you can achieve or that you're equipped to do. There's no point in me doing law or something that's not my field. I've fell into being an educator, not by choice. It's not that I wanted to do it, but I have the skill set to do it. And like you rightly said, we can't keep passing the buck, and we already know what the problems are. And if we're not working towards the solutions, we're part of the problem. That's the way, unfortunately, it is. So we have to take life by the reins, and we have to do what we can do to change whatever we can. And, you know, that's exactly what I had to do with the books. I seen that there was a problem. I seen that I could actually do something about it. So why moan? Why always keep talking about what we don't have and what we should have and waiting for others to do it when we can do it ourselves? Because we're more than capable of doing everything. All of the problems that that face our community, we're more than capable of collectively coming together and solving them. But until we take responsibility to man up and say, we have to do this, we're going to stay in that hamster on the wheel, just going round and round again, talking about problems. Is it going to change? Is it going to change? And I don't think no. I think we have to be responsible. And I think with what I've done, I hope it's testament for others to see that I'm no different from you. I'm no different. It's just taking responsibility and making that change and actually contributing what you can. It's hard. No, it's not going to be easy, but if we're looking to leave a legacy and to leave generational wealth, even if we're not leaving financial gains, the wealth is not just financial. It's, like it's a spiritual injection. So I think it's being able to tap into something that I might not make the change that I need to, but maybe I can influence a person that could influence a person that will make the changes. And I think by doing the little bit that you can, whether it's even taking out the bins for the right person or whatever, or cleaning or providing or feeding the right person or caring for the right person, that will have a knock-on effect. And it will, with that butterfly effect, it can make a massive change.
Yeah. And what the question that's come into my mind as you were speaking, because I know that it's a hard, road trying to educate our people. It's a hard road. And it's also very taxing on the individual concerned in many different ways. Particularly when I, read that, this is self-funded, like this is something that you use your own resources to get off the ground. Speak to me about some of the pleasure moments that you've had that made it so worthwhile. The pleasure moments, things that people have said, that way our people have benefited. Share with us some of those pleasure moments that you've had.
I wasn't going to do the event again. I'll be honest with you. It's so taxing. It's a lot. Not only that, it's financially taxing. It's taxing on your relationships around you, on your family, on your friends, your loved ones, your partner, whoever. It's taxing because doing something like this is taking a massive chunk of your life and your time. So as a creative as well, it only, depending on what day it is and where the moon is that day, it can take the slightest thing to just throw you off. Someone could pass the slightest comment and it can throw you off. As a creative, as a creative especially, I go through phases of I can be social and then I can be totally antisocial. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody, and I definitely don't want to help the community because we get like that, because it's so taxing, and we love our people to the point we start to resent certain things. And for me, hearing simple things like today, one of the store holders that did the last event, she phoned me and she was like, that was the best event I've ever been to. I've been trading for 20 years. I've been doing events for 20 years, and that's the best event I've ever done. That's good because she's made money and she thinks it's great. But for me, the real pleasure is, and what made me do the event again was I spent the last year in Tanzania because I just got fed up with the lockdowns. And when I came back, I seen some family members, and it was my cousin's children, and they was like, when are you gonna do your event again? And they're like 7, and it's like the best thing that they've ever been to, and it's something that made them feel proud. And I think sometimes when you do work, you don't realize who you're influencing, and sometimes we have to be mindful because you don't know what you could say could influence them in the wrong way. But in that circumstance, they were so proud. It was like, oh, when we're gonna have an event again? When are we? Because they were selling goods on their table. They're seeing all the people. I remember at the first event I had, my cousin came up to me and she goes, I don't know where my children are, but I don't care because I know they're safe. That environment, because as I was speaking to sister yesterday, like the first event I was saying to her, you could feel the energy in the building. I've always heard people talk about concerts and football matches, and you could cut the tension with with a knife and all of this talk. I'd never felt that because I'd never been to a football match, so I'd never been to a concert. Don't know what it felt like. But at my event, I found out what it felt like. I found out what it felt like to have so much love in a building. And I think that's what separated the event from every other event. We had people from the nation in there. We had the conscious community there. We had people from the churches. It had everyone. And what made it different from events up until then was people were very segregated. There were nation events, there were Hebrew Israelite events, there were Christian events that have convention. And then there's the conscious community that really don't want to segregate with anyone else. I mean, associate with anyone else because of ideologies. But this event just had everyone out, and everyone just felt proud, and it had the love. And I think even just going back to that feeling is the things that will make me want to continue to do and see the importance of it, because I think us coming together collectively like that is super powerful. I remember one of the guys that came from the States was talking about someone should have saged out the building, and he was like, "You are the sage, we are the stage." But what he meant was the energy that we brought was so powerful. Like any negativity that was in there, we just cleared it out. And I think collectively we forget and don't realize how powerful we are united, and we have the force to break down everything. So it's them things that make me want to continue.
Very good. But in regards to some of these great historical figures who you have written about, you know, what are the most salient parts of some of their lives that you believe we should be realizing today, focusing on, you know, that they spoke of so far in advance? What are some of the most prominent areas that you believe we should be focusing on now?
For me personally,
yes,
what I take away from them, I'll give you first. And I think it's resilience, especially in this new generation now. They're so easy to give up. They don't, some of them they're used to that microwave kind of lifestyle, and they just think things are just going to come instantly. I had a family member working for me, and she just thought it was this get rich quick thing, and it doesn't work like that at all. And for me, I had to learn the hard way, and you have to be resilient. You have to be able to have a thick skin. I've been in the States to a point. I remember I was doing an event in the States in Philadelphia, and people wasn't buying any books. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna give them out free, just to get people to take them. And I started to offer people books for free, and they didn't want them. And as a creative, when you've created something like that, you put your hard-earned money into it and sweat. That's crushing. That is so crushing. That would make anyone just never want to go back out there and do it again. But I had to get up to face another day. So I've had people say all sorts to me about they're not interested, they're not bothered, they're too expensive. But you have to build some sort of resilience. And from all of these people, what they had was resilience. They fought. They, like Sister said earlier, was timing and taking opportunity. And I think they took opportunities. So when opportunities was presented to them, they showed up. And I think those are very important when you want to advance in any sort of financial kind of venture, because you can't, sometimes you'll think too much and the opportunity will pass you by. So for me, it's definitely resilience and showing up. A lot of them had that mindset of never giving up as well, and fighting for what they believed in, having having a goal. So they wanted certain things, whether it was freedom, independence, repatriation, whatever. They had a set goal. And like Marcus always says, they kept their eye on the prize. And that's it. Sometimes you have to have that laser vision, and don't let no one ever put you off what you want. For all people, that would be something that I'd say they carry through to now.
And what is it then, Brother Andrew, that these greats who you have authored, they seem to, and our great sages of the past, they packed so much accomplishment into such a short period of time and achieve so much greatness in their 20s, in their 30s, and most didn't live a long time. But what they accomplished in their really spiritual formative years, because had some of these individuals lived another 20, 30 years, you know, you could only imagine where we would be now. So I like your comparison in regards to those of our ancestors versus what we are really not about today. But what do you think was different with our sages' upbringing and the upbringing of our young people today? Where is the issue?
I think we've spoke them, unfortunately. We've wrapped them in cotton wool. We've given them too much. And they have this air of entitlement. They believe that they deserve something when they've put no work in at all. All of these people had it rough, they had it hard. They had to use their brain. They had to remember. I remember at one point I could remember phone numbers, not anymore because of a smartphone. But it's the convenience now has made them lazy. It's made them not use their brain. It's influenced them to the wrong things. So I think back then, because even communicating a letter would, I remember my dad used to have the airmail envelopes with the red and blue around the edge, and have to send it back home and wait for weeks to get a reply. But now everything's instant, like it's instant. So I think then it was just, everything was harder and it made them stronger. I think sometimes when life is hard, it just makes you more equipped and ready for life. They don't build soldiers like by giving them candy floss and throwing them on mattresses. So I think, you know, having that hard life and having the struggles that they had is what made them how they are. And I think, unfortunately, we have wrapped that generation, the younger generation, in cotton wool, and we have, in a way, we have to accept responsibility that we have set them up to fail because we haven't made them more resilient and we've given them too much. So I think that's a problem, I would say, but it's easily resolved.
Right. So what role then do we as parents need to play to make our children more interested in our own history? Because many people are saying, Andrew, you know, many people are saying that there should be more Black history taught in mainstream schools, but that shouldn't be the starting point, should it?
No, it should be in the home. And I feel like before we actually try and teach our young people about our great sages, we have to learn about them ourselves.
Right.
So I think damage has been done to us as well. But yeah, there's two ways we can do it. We can learn pre-hand and then teach them, or we can learn together. And I think my books are excellent for people to do that. And it's a stepping stone, and it's a block to do that. It's hard. I think definitely children nowadays need more stimulation mentally. So I think activity books like mine are great because it forces them to do activities and stimulate different parts of their brain, and it appeals to different learning styles as well. But I feel like if families could come together, because what I always suggest as well is that the parents go through the books with them and making it an activity. But it doesn't just need to be my books. It can be going to the museum. It could be going to the Maritime Museum. It could be going to the British Art History Museum or the Peachtree Museum. It could be taking them back to the Caribbean to see their grandparents, because I didn't go to the Caribbean until I was in my 20s. My parents just wasn't interested. After a certain point, they just wasn't interested in going back. So I think it's things like that, letting them see other family members, letting them see how they grew, how they cook food, and getting them in touch with it. Because I think for young people, they see the fun in that. Me going back as a 20-year-old and have to go to certain places, I'm like, I think I'll stay in a hotel.
I remember the same when I remember traveling down Jamaica with a great friend of mine. He owned Saxon Sound System, and we went there, and we got off the plane, and it was dark, and I was staying somewhere else. And so we dropped him off first where he was staying, and his grandmother said, oh, you can stay here tonight, and it's getting late. And when I looked around, brother, I said, I don't care how late it is, I'm going to my hotel. Because this ain't happening tonight. When you go to a house that it's got chickens running around, cats and dogs. I'm like, I'm not adding to this party. I'm out of here.
Food for the muscle. I'll tell you that one. Good blood that night.
But this segues into my next point in regards to networking. Because you mentioned going home and connecting with family in the Caribbean, Africa, wherever our family are from. And this should be the first level, right, of networking, because you need to know what skills and talents are actually in your biological family, right? Globally, right? So how would you juxtapose that with real effective networking, connecting with your family?
Boy. I'm gonna go use my family for this example. Oh God, how do I start? Basically, I have a big family, but not all of them are on the right path.
Yeah.
So it comes with certain benefits to be around them, and then it kind of benefits you not to be around them. And I had to make the sacrifice to actually not associate with myself with certain people in my family, because I don't think they respected my vision and where I wanted to go in life.
Yeah.
So I think the importance of networking with your family is seeing what they're about, because some people it's not best to associate with, depending on where you want to go. I love my family to bits, but it's who's conducive to your journey. And like I said earlier, not skin folk is kinfolk, and that goes for blood as well. Just because you're born into a family doesn't mean you need to follow their path and do that they've done. So it's good to find out what they're about, because you may have talent there. You may have people that can influence you and help you and stuff like that. But know where you're at as well. Don't be afraid to step away from the bunch if you have to. If their life is not conducive with yours, as they say, is one door shut, several open. So unfortunately, which is the case, with great sacrifice comes great reward. So never look at it as you're losing something, but maybe gaining something else.
Absolutely. So tell me, like 3,000 persons in a room, that is a massive or grand achievement. So who would you say, from a networking organizational perspective, who were your key pillars that you had to have in place to pull off something as magnificent as what you have been achieving?
Oh, that's a hard one, I think I did the slow and steady race. So from doing the magazine, that was the first that I did that. I started in 2004, and I did that for like 3 years. And what it did was it made people gain confidence in me that I could do what I said I was going to do, and I did it to a certain standard, the highest standard I could.
Yeah.
People recognize that, and I think people gravitate towards that. And throughout my life, what I've realized is I've always been service driven. I've always been able to provide a service to others, and even if it never benefits me, I give them the highest standard that I can. And, you know, maybe you don't get it back from them, but it comes around from someone else. So it comes back in a different way. So I think by always giving my all and giving the best of me that I could give, it came back full circle in different ways. So through working with people through the magazine, giving them features, just inspiring them, you build small networks. People have trust in you that they can vouch for what you can do. I used to do a lot of funeral booklets because I'm a graphic designer by trade. Working with families, helping them in a time of need. When some people just have, it's the first time they've dealt with death, they never know what to do. Being able to support them and be genuine and care and to give them something from your heart, I think they appreciate it. And after that sad period of their life passes, they will remember you and they will stick by you. And from that becomes more people that you network with. The books, I think by doing the books and going abroad, people saw what I was doing, they saw what I was willing to sacrifice. And I did loads of events in America for the first year when I did the books. And a lot of the events that I did way better than everyone else. Not just because I had a better product than anyone else, but that people, they saw something in me that I was able to go beyond other people. I made the effort to travel. I made the effort to put in the work. And because I did, it gained more confidence in a different set of people. And the whole time I'm not thinking of networking, I'm building up a huge, huge network of people that trust me and I don't even know. So when it came to promoting the event, the first event, throughout the years, there were so many people that I'd given service to. So it was never about, oh, I'm networking, what can I get from this person? It was always providing a service and giving to others, not knowing that one day that would reap great benefits. So when it came to promoting the event, people showed up, they turned out, they knew what I could do, they believed in me. And the first event, I don't know how much people I was expecting, I'll be honest. But I knew when I booked the venue, what I did know is I just had this feeling and I kept thinking this event's going to be ram. I was thinking, it's going to be ram. And I don't know why it came over me. And I kept thinking, anytime I did so, I was like, it's going to be ram. And believe it or not, people could have moved in there. Like, it was like an old time should be in like a, it was moving up past each other, but it just added to the energy and the experience. And I was like, the place could hold probably about 2,500. No, it probably could hold about 2,500, but it hit capacity. So with the tables in there, the seats, it was packed. It was mad. I remember some people went out the building and to come back in, it would take them half an hour to just get through everybody. So it was mad. And I think from that, again, people build confidence. They see what you can do, who turns out. And so when we did the next event in a bigger venue, more people came and it was just bigger. But at the first event, we had one person from the States. And when he went back, he told everybody, because I was telling people, but they didn't believe in England. It was like, no, English ain't doing nothing. Nothing's going on over there. There ain't no black people. So when he went back, he did all of the marketing. So then 20 came the next time. And then when they came, they went back. And now hopefully this year, there's going to be way more people from the States, because it's about building it and making it internationally. Because like you rightly said, once I'm crafting it, and once we craft it and make it perfect, we can hit the road with it. We can take it to London, we can take it to Germany, we can take it to France, we can take it to the States, the Caribbean, back to Africa, and just build with it. So yeah, it was just a long process of building these networks, and then finally one day they all cashed out.
It's fantastic. So tell me, where have you been received or welcomed, you know, the best outside of the UK?
I'd say in the States, you know, in the States, I did a lot of cultural events. For me, the place that I like the most in the States is Philadelphia. That's where I like. I've done Atlanta, I've done Baltimore, New York, Georgia, and New Orleans. And for me, there's just some, I think because I'm from Birmingham and it's that second city kind of thing, and
Right.
about 2 hours away from New York, it's got the same kind of, and it's not as fast as New York. I do like Philly, but I've been well received in the States. And I think it's because I've made the effort to show up, and they see the work, they see the quality of the work. I look back at my books, the first editions of my books, and I think, blimey, people bought it, you know. But I've been able to craft it and build. But I think for me, it was good because I showed up, I did the work, and I went out at the right time, and I made the networks and I made the connections, and then I refined the books. So the networks and the structures were put in place from me showing up first. So then to refine them, and now they're amazing books. Like they're not books, they're educational resources. That's how I see them. But like, you know, I could have stayed there until forever till I got them perfect and just be releasing them now. Whereas like just getting out there, people did nothing. There was nothing like that. They were great at the time. People saw them and was like, these are amazing. But I think by going, I think it was amazing because the first place I went to was South Africa, because I'd done one on Nelson Mandela. And what I was thinking was each person that I'd done a book on, if, you know, the tourist board or certain museums would take them on, then it would give me leeway into certain countries. It didn't really work in South Africa. I probably didn't meet the right people, so I have to go back at some point. But in the States, it was fairly successful. I managed to get the books into 26 stores.
Oh, wow.
That's been shortened down to about 10 now, to the most reliable ones, and the ones that take the most. I got them into the biggest black book distributor on the East Coast. He supplies my books, and I've connected him to others. So I've put that network to work. So yeah, it is. I'd say States has been where I've been most well received.
But you had to get on the road, right? So the network didn't come to you. You went out and, you know, structured it, right? So tell us about your willingness in regards to networking, your willingness to get out of Birmingham and travel abroad. How important is that if you want to build a successful brand?
I think you can get away with it in your hometown. For me, it was too small. Like, to stay in Birmingham was too small. So I would always advise people to step out of your comfort zone and to make the effort to do things like I did, like to go to the States, because now I have people that I can call directly. I can get them come over. So from that, I had one of the speakers at the last event, didn't have to pay him, didn't pay for his hotels, nothing. He came because he saw what I could do. He believed in me. He thought I was trustworthy, and he came off his own back. And now he wants to come back because he said I was the most professional person he's ever worked with. So I think knowing what you can do and hitting the road with it, sometimes maybe the best thing you could ever do, because I always say this to people in the UK, that we underestimate ourselves so much. Always look to the States and think that they're the pinnacle of consciousness, religion, everything. And I think we really, really don't tap into our own divinity, because we're giving to others, thinking that they're better than us and they're the vanguards of everything. It's not true. It is definitely not true. And I've seen that firsthand. So it's about, I think, going over there and seeing that will give you more confidence within yourself. I've been to so many events, and I was doing events while I was in the UK before I even went to the States, and I'd seen the quality of the things we produce. I'm talking books, I'm talking our creams, our clothing. I've seen it is packaged perfectly, we branded well. I go to the States, I see people with a bottle with a sticker on it written shea butter and lime with a sellotape stuff over sellotape. I'm like, this is rinky dink, but they're selling it for $20, and we don't have the confidence to sell us for like £5 because we're like, oh, too much. And sometimes we don't see our own value. So not only going out there, you'll see how valuable are you. You'll see how better than you are than the competition and what's over there. So I think it will give you insights in so many areas. Plus, you go in there, people respect that because they think you've made the effort, and they can see that you put the effort in. And then that's why I always I feel like I did better than everyone else, because people says you've put the effort in, I'm going to support you. You've traveled from far, your products are good, I'm going to support. So me, I always travel alone as well, and I feel like when you travel alone, you kind of you gravitate people towards you, and a lot of the times you do gravitate some really good people. I have, so I'm thankful for that. Even my good brother that I met in Harlem, I was standing in the rain. It was raining bad in Harlem. I went to sell some books on 125th, and I got caught in the rain, so I was hiding under some scaffolding. And there was another brother there, and he was like, "Oh, would you take a picture of me?" Lo and behold, he hosts my show now. He's the person that comes every year. He was the first person to come over, and we built such a bond. That's my brother. So it's showing up. Like, timing is so mad. Like, like what was said earlier, like when you show up, the universe has a way of making things happen, putting people there, and then that's when you act and you take action. So by going out there, you could go. I was going out there blindly. I had really no idea what I was doing, but because I went out there, it's like everything synchronized to me, and it brought opportunities my way, and I took opportunities, and because of that, I am here where I am today.
Fantastic. Love it. Tell me, Brother Andrew, what what material are you working on at the moment? Who are some of the great ones, past and present, that you are currently working to showcase?
So at the minute, what I'm actually doing is some of the books are out of stock. So what I did was I spent the time to make them better, to improve them. The one that I just revamped completely was Queen Nanny of the Maroons, which was my favorite book and the bestseller. It's always been the bestseller. But because I did the second series of books, the formula was there, the structure was there of how to do the books. So then the content improved on the second series. So like there was more maths, there was more English, there was just more learning, more. I do a lot of problem solving in my books because I feel like it's a skill that we all need to problem solve. So when I seen the content for the second books and the first series, some of them hadn't been updated. I currently did Queen Nanny. I did Mary Seacole's been updated, and Toussaint Louverture. I'm now working on Queen Nzinga to be updated, and then I'll be doing King Zumbi will be updated, and then Harriet Tubman. And then I think that would have been all my books that I've gone through, like 2 issues of them. I've sold out of my children's colouring books as well, so I'll be doing them again. And then hopefully before my event, I'm trying to work on the third series, which was pre-slavery. So I'll be doing Mansa Musa, I'll be doing Imhotep, and those were the first 2 that I was going to start in that series. There'll be bigger books and aimed at older children, because I've got the knack of it now. I think when repetition and keep doing something just makes you stronger and better at it. So I've crafted it now to, like I says, these are resources, and they're very powerful. And I wish like there was more hours in the day that I could work to churn more of them out, because I do believe they're very needed, but they're also a part of my legacy that I'll be able to leave behind.
Fantastic. What about any current contributors, those who are still alive? Have you written anything on anything that anybody's doing who is currently walking the earth?
No, I'd love to, but just about copyright and stuff like that, I'm not trying to get into no litigation. So I leave it to them to sort that one out. But if anyone wants to commission me out there to do any work on them and they're alive, feel free.
Right. Fantastic. So I'm hoping, Sister Sylvina, that we have Brother's range of books that we can put it up before we conclude. Do you have your range, Brother Andrew, that you can screen share and give us a flavor of some of your work?
Yeah, I'll do that right now. Give me 1 second and I'll figure out how to screen share. Let me see what I'm doing here. Okay. Share screen. Oh, here we go.
See, how long would it have taken most of you on this call to have figured that out?
So I've managed to do it. So actually, this first book that I'm showing you now, this is actually of a living person. Sorry, I stopped printing the books. But this is a woman called Queen Diambi. She's a traditional ruler from the Bakaluntu people of Kasai, which goes into Angola and into Congo and some bits of Mozambique and South Africa. So she's alive. She came to the last event and did a presentation. She's a very charismatic and articulate woman. I had the pleasure of traveling the world with her. So I've been to New Orleans and I've been to Brazil, where there's so much of our brothers and sisters over there that are fighting that we don't get to hear their story and we hear their plight. And that's why King Zumbi is such an important book. So yeah, this is Queen Diambi. This is a book on her, which goes into her life. These are some of the titles that I have, which is Uncle Yusuf, which is the first samurai. There's one on Elijah, which is Elijah McCoy. So the term, the real McCoy, comes from a automatic oiling component that he added to the steam engines, which revolutionized the locomotive industry, because before then, when the wheels and components would heat up, they'd have to stop the locomotive and wait for it to cool down completely. And what he developed was a continuous oil drip. So they were able to run for longer, and in turn made more money. And then he went on to do the ironing board and several other inventions. Auntie Beth.
Did he maintain the trademarks for those?
Yes, because what happened was there was people was doing a lot of nothing at all. So that's why the term the real McCoy came about, because people would say, "Is it the real McCoy?" Which he had patented. So yeah, he did own one. Bessie Coleman was a stunt woman, first female pilot in the States. Then CJ Walker, great businesswoman, influenced so many, did network marketing, which a lot of people do now. She's like a founder of that. Then there's His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie. There's Nana Yaa Santiwa. So she is the Ghanaian version of Queen Nani that fought against the British. So it goes into to the Akan and Ashanti and teaches about their system, the gold. So there's a lot of mathematics and problem solving in that book. Uncle Toussaint, which has just been redone. One of the reasons that I believe that the Atlantic slave trade was stopped was because of the people in Haiti that overthrew the colonial trade, because if the rest of the wiped the floor with them, it would have been over. So then we've got Sea Coal, we've got King Zumbi, which I really like, because there's so much of the people that were taken from Africa were taken to Brazil. We don't get to hear their story because people rarely translate it. So they go through what we go through, what worse sometimes. And it was just nice to to go over there as well and to meet the people. And the culture's so rich, so rich. We've got Marcus Garvey, my favorite book. Then we've got Bob Marley, Harriet Tubman, Huey P. Newton, which is a very overlooked book because he did so much, and the 12-point program, the 10-point program was so good, and it can be adopted today. So a lot of these are doing things that they have the blueprint. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to take on certain principles that have already been used. We've got Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Uncle Muhammad, Queen Nanny, another one of my favorite books, Nelson Mandela, and Rosa Parks. I try to do the usual suspects. That's why you see people like Rosa Parks, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, because people are threatened when they see that strong African image like King Zumbi. That's intimidating for some people. So for some people that can't deal with that, we kind of, there's books like Bob Marley that we can give them a softer version. That's more palatable. He goes hardcore with people like Queen Amina and Toussaint Louverture and these figures. So these are the books that I have at the minute. I will send the link in the group, so chat so people can they can get the books. And then if you go onto the links above, it will take you to my YouTube page, so you'll be able to see the past events, and then sort of what some of the speakers thought about the events as well. So you'll see my first event is on here, and you'll see the second one. There's an hour and a half video with some of the speakers. You'll see some of our sponsors, and interviews of me with other people. You see some of the people from the States. So there's a few decent watches there. You'll find some good gems in some of those. We took the attendees from the last event to Parliament. So it's got the journey to Parliament. We took some to Stonehenge. We just tried to host them in the right way and look after them properly. So there's a whole host of things you can look into there, and you'll definitely find something of interest.
Fantastic. Everybody, please take your devices off mute and give Brother Andrew Lindo a big, massive spiritual injection. Round of applause.
Absolutely brilliant. Fantastic.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Minister. Also.
Great work,
That is
great work,
fantastic.
Great work.
Now, that's, Sister said it's fantastic. It's also very rich, okay? Because this is what we have been needed in our community. And what's so beautiful is you have so much powerful female representation amongst your titles. And tell me, are these titles and books available in different languages?
Not at present. So I originally was going to do them in Portuguese. So I just wasn't confident enough to make the commitment to do it, but it's still something I do want to do. I have interest to have them done in French because we have a lot of French speaking people out there. So eventually I will do it. But I'll be honest, sometimes it's hard just selling to English speaking people, let alone trying to selling it to anyone else. So yeah, I think I'll I'll continue to create the resources for now, and then God willing, in due time, we can start to have more different.
Fantastic. So because we have people on the line from all different countries, we have them here from Denmark, from Holland, from France, from all different parts of Europe. Then those of you who are desirous of seeing these books, you know, in your, I wouldn't say your native tongue, but your stepmother's tongue, then please, you know, this is a great opportunity. Did you get that? Your stepmother's tongue. But anyway, this is a great opportunity for you to inbox Brother Andrew, send him an email, put forth a proposal, because I'm sure if you're willing to undertake the responsibility, then a conversation, I'm sure, can be had. So this is the time where I allow a few questions from the floor. And I see Dr. Ya Asantwa, your hand is up. So if we can allow Dr. Ya Asantwa to ask a question, please.
Giving all honor and praises for those who have been before us, and giving all honor and praises for those who are here with us, and giving all honor and praise for those who will come from us. Brother Abdul Hakim Mohammed, you've done it again. You've done it again. I think you deserve a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and Hotep, and in KwaZulu Natal we say Sani Bonani. And really and truly, I mean, you know, I've called in my troops all over KZN who have been working with me, the Sister Queens. It is now 10:20 in South Africa, and I'm getting some amazing feed forward. And I just want to say to you, my brother, the time you came was not the right time. The Institute of Africology is the conduit for people like yourself. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to make sure we hold the space. And I think, you know, it is a Pan-African Cultural Center that we've built. On July 11, 2020, we opened the Pan-African Cultural Center for Children in KwaZulu Natal, and we are very clear. We have just done the first leg of Black History Month that was done in February, and it was all concentrated on inventors and innovators, because we, you know, I hear what brother Abdul Hakim has done is made us realize that we are really the true creators in the different programs that he's done. So I would love to see a book on African innovators, because our theme is liberate the mind and affirm Africa's genius. And we can only do that when we reassess and we bring forward those who have, like the McCoys of the world, but so many others. I'm so proud of you, Brother Andrew. I'm really proud. And just know that I am available as a visionary and the founder of the Institute of Africology to send representatives to be at your Black History Month in October, because Africa is blessed, Brother Abdul Hakim, because we celebrate 2 Black History Months. Yes. And so at the Institute of Africology, October is the African Diaspora Month. Yes, and in that month, we concentrate on the Africa Extended Program. So we are ready, and we are ready to host, and we are ready to do whatever it has to take, because this platform has showed us that we are bigger and in numbers, and we are greater because of the quality of such a program. And thank you, Sister Denise, for being so consistent and persistent when she knows that, you know, I've been on the ground. And with you, Brother Andrew, you have made my work easier. My Saturday Readers Are Leaders program has become richer. The dignity classes for the teenagers have become even more inspirational. So we are looking forward to your contribution to the Institute of Africology, but we are also looking forward to making sure that your return to Azania, your return to the continent, will be done in such a way that you will not have time to be in Europe. I can promise you that. So thank you so much. Again, our leader, Abdul Hakim Mohammed, I think I just asked Allah to keep you for many, many, many seasons, so that you can run these spiritual injections live in the continent, because I know that is coming. Yes. I have all faith, inshallah, that you will bring this here. But Brother Andrew, we are proud. You have made us, it's such an honor to be here in your work, but most importantly, for me to be a conduit of people like yours. And I tell people like Gavi tells, the blueprint is written. We don't have to reinvent anything. What we have to do is implement, and be courageous in that implementation. Thank you so much. Asante sana, Siabong.
Thank you. Thank you. What wonderful energy. Your energy coming from South Africa, my sister, is beyond words. Your energy is awe-inspiring. So keep up the great work that you're doing, and anything we can do to support what you're doing in South Africa, do not hesitate. You know, if there's anything you need, please let us know, and we will most certainly, you know, send you whatever you need from what you have over here. You have our.
I will, and brother Mohammed, I'm wondering if if the brother wouldn't consider doing the poster series, just the posters, and then we can do the activities. We just need some more posters in our schools here in South of Africa.
So, Brother Andrew, can we get some of those posters?
Yeah, definitely. That would be hard for me to do. Plus, I have some posters here already that they can tap into.
So what we're going to do, Sister Doctor, we're going to, on behalf of the Spiritual Injection, we're going to send you a package of those posters, complimentary of the Spiritual Injection. Okay? My sister, you're on mute.
Jazakala and Siabonga Gakulu, asante sana for the gift. My other colleagues are also online. So, and they are the people who are the project managers, program at the center. So they are listening in. There's about 5 women who are listening in that I brought on through Sister Denise. So they will also hear that the gift is coming our way, because, you know, we really need these kinds of teaching tools here in South Africa and across the rest of Southern Africa. Thank you so much. May Allah be praised.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. So, Brother Andrew, would you like to respond?
Yes, I would love to create some posters. I was thinking it's not hard really, because all I need to do is just take off activity books and just send you like beautiful images like this. Some of our great leaders. I do have some posters anyway, so that I printed up. So what I can do is I'll put quite a few in. I'll probably put about 30 in. So if I don't know how many students you have, but I'll be able to give hopefully each of the students one of the posters for them to take home as well.
Yeah, let us have as many as you can, and we have a group down there. We will settle whatever needs to be settled, and we'll ship them over to South Africa. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Asantwa. So, Brother Wayne, I see your hand.
Yes, thank you, Brother Minister. I agree with Dr. Yah. You've done it yet again. And this with this wonderful guest, this brother. And I don't know if you remember me, Brother Andrew. About a year ago, around this time, we met in Tanzania.
I sure do.
And we had a fantastic conversation with the family from the US.
Yep.
Over a meal. Yes, sir. That was really inspirational. And I remember I've got your book still that you so kindly gave to me. But what happened was I actually got my phone stolen.
Oh, man.
So I lost your details and didn't manage to retrieve it, even though I reported it to the local police. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
But it's great to see you, my brother. Fantastic. And I know you weren't in the best of health at the time, you know, but you're looking beautiful, black man. And I was so pleased when I looked at the flyer, because it was totally unexpected. And so you see how the universe is working.
Yep.
Here you are, we meet again.
See, I think that's like what I was saying earlier, like the universe always seems to cash out.
Absolutely, yes. The ancestors and the supreme divine is working, brother. So we're not here by accident. We're all here and we've got a job to do. And your work in particular is so important, because those books, as I went through them, you know, it's almost as if, you know, it's like they represent a form of brain surgery, you know, because they open the minds. And as you know, in the motherland, a lot of the young people, a lot of the population of most countries are under the age of 25, and they are ripe for knowledge of self. They want to know their history. And when we in the West come with that information, it really unlocks their minds, you know, and makes them open to truth and right guidance. You know, so your books are doing a great job, and I just wanted to acknowledge and greet you, but also to say that I did make some links within the Ministry of Tourism, and it would be good to keep in touch, because I don't know if you're still there, because you were talking about going to Zanzibar.
Yeah, I did.
And but there's some links there, and hopefully we can do some collaboration, because there's a brother there who's organizing trips, and I've got some ideas that I'd like to share with you and see where we can cross-fertilize.
I'm definitely going to share my details with you so we can stay in contact, and it's amazing to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Great to see you, my brother. And keep up the great work, and may you be blessed, guided, and protected. And I'm definitely looking to come as well to the Expo.
Excellent. That would be great. Thank you. So it's good to see you again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Fantastic. So tell me, Sister Silvina, is there anything you would like to discuss with our brother, or is there anything in the chat that I have missed? Because we literally have 2 minutes.
No, people were crying out for your contact details, brother. So we posted them into the chat. If you haven't managed to get them down, join the Spiritual Injection Telegram group, and we will repost them in there throughout the week so you can access it. As you were speaking, brother, I've just made, and even during the pre-conversation that you had with Brother Abdul Hakim, I definitely think that, as Brother Abdul Hakim said earlier, the universe has worked to bring this one together. It's not easy to meet someone that is doing something big that you can already connect with. Yeah, so you're already doing big things, and we want to join big things onto big things, you know, to expand it. And you know, we've done that here today. So I just look forward to the conversations that we'll have in the future.
Definitely, me too.
Fantastic. Brother Jeff, did you want to share anything with our special guest?
Yes, thank you so much, Brother Andrew. So inspirational. And thank you again, once again, Spiritual Injection. As our dear Dr. Asantwa said, Spiritual Injection has done it again. It is the greatest platform on a Thursday evening for myself and my guests. But it's interesting, Brother Andrew, I was in Birmingham this weekend visiting one of the universities. And Birmingham is a university. There's Aston, there's Birmingham City. There's a lot going on regarding education. And there was about maybe 1,000 people that had come to this open day in the university. How important do you think it is for us to, as you said, be the instigators of educating our children? Because I was even looking at the amount of money that the universities will be making based on all of those students. But when they leave such institutions, there's nothing for them. And that's why the Spiritual Injection platform is so important. It's asking us not to go to educate ourselves to get a job, but educate yourself to start your own business or be the business that you want to be. How are you seeing that, my dear brother? And is there anything like that in your books that you can share with us?
So for children, I always push entrepreneurship. I also always push for doing for self. I think one of the things with educational establishments is what they do, institutions, is it's almost like they don't push you into being a business person. They'll educate you, so they give you the tools, but I think then it's for us to take it to that next level. When I was studying graphic design, the first college I went to, they taught me to be technical. They taught me how to use all of the tools that I need to use, how to use the programs in specific ways, how to lay things out. But it was just technical. That's all they taught me, how to be technical, how to use a computer, how to use the programs. The next college that I went to, I was very fortunate because the tutor that I had, he was from the London School of Art, and he didn't care about programs. He didn't care about tools, fancy stuff. He didn't care about that. But what he did teach her was how to be creative and how to use your brain and how to source inspiration from different places. So it was two different schools of thought. I think the next school of thought onto that is commerce and business and entrepreneurship. And that may be something that we can learn in these institutions, but sometimes you may have to learn on the job, or you can learn through platforms like this, when you know the speakers that come on here that can teach you things, and then you can go and research. So I think the educational institutions give you one aspect and one dimension. I think it's then for you to use your own initiative to kind of take that as a building block and add to it and add different sizes, because you've got the tools that you need to succeed. Yes, you can go and work for someone that will get you so far, but then you could probably add on to it and do different things and do it for yourself. So I would say for people is you never stop learning, and you'll never stop developing in life. It just really depends on what kind of direction you want to go with it. For me, I just wouldn't feel comfortable within my soul for working for someone. That's just me though. Some people prefer the security of that, because for me, taking on big mammoth tasks like this is I'm using alchemy to create something out of nothing, because I see the bill, I see what I have to create. I'm just seeing zeros, and then I'm thinking, I don't have that money, so I just draw it to me. Some people, it's a skill like Brother Hakeem said earlier. It's something that we can learn. These are skills that I can do, you can learn as well. So alchemy and creating, bringing things towards you, you can learn too. It is a skill. So the things that I do that for some people feel they're unachievable, I don't care about the money. The money will come from you. Want to provide something and do it good. Things will have a way of gravitating towards you. So I would say to those people in education, figure out what you want to do. Do you want to work for someone? Do you want to work for yourself? And if you're going to work for yourself, be sure to know that it may be a rocky road. It may be a lot of sleepless nights. It may be a lot of working for nothing. But that's the direction. Sometimes it's the path that we choose.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And it's a life well lived.
It is.
And at the end of one's life, we can bring old Blue Eyes back, you know, where he said, I did it my way. Because we don't need two of anybody. One of us is enough. And if we do what we're supposed to do, then the contribution would be made. It doesn't matter how long we live. It's the quality of our service whilst we are here and the legacy that we leave. And based upon the strong legacy of our ancestors that they left, it has fueled you, Brother Andrew, and it's justified your life by you bringing them back to life. So our ancestors are alive because you have taken up the responsibility to not allow them to die. Think about it. They live because of you. So we all owe you a debt of gratitude because you have resurrected our ancestors for us to enjoy. So spiritual injection, take your devices off of mute and show plenty love to our special guest, Brother Andrew Lindo.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Brother Andrew. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Are there any closing words you would like to leave with our audience, Brother Andrew?
I would just like to say, for those that are working towards something, just never give up. Just keep your eyes on the prize, and let's all work together to make it happen. I hope that you all can make it to the event in October. It is going to be a sight for sore eyes. It's going to be definitely a great gathering. So if you can make it, hopefully we're going to do a live stream, so you can tap in that way as well if you can't turn up physically. And I'd like to thank you all for having me on your platform, so you could learn a little bit more about me and stuff like that. So I'm very thankful for being here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Andrew. And once again, we thank you.
Thank you, brother.
We love you. We respect you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well done.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well
There are no
spoken.
announcements,
Fantastic.
Sister Sylvina. What we're going to do is move to a close. So we're back here next week, same theme, networking. We're going to close this theme down in the next couple of weeks, but we want to maximize the importance of networking. It is key. I can't emphasize it enough how important it is for you to link with friends, family, and your community and people in general. I was driving today and a brother was in the bus lane where I usually am, but I was on the right side this time. But he was in the bus lane and we were at the traffic lights and we both were driving the same cars or the trucks, the same trucks. So as we were both there, both same color vehicle. So we looked over and greeted each other and it was just so nice, you know? So anyway, we drove, I let him in to get out of the bus lane and we went to the next set of lights and we both stopped and he took the opportunity, you know, to lean over and hand me his card out of his passenger window. Now, for him to go through all, he's a property developer, etc., etc. So for him to go through all that trouble and for me not to phone him is for me to deny myself a potential blessing. So please, everybody, follow up when the universe wants to bless you, is handing you a blessing on a plate. Take it, follow up. Let's throw off the spirit of laziness and can't be botheredness. Let's get rid of that. And let's be that hungry person who is out there maximizing on every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every month of every year of every decade of our life. Let's stop calculating life by years. Let's calculate life by seconds. And every second counts.
Every second counts.
Counts. Let's maximize everything. So every day we have a full day. So by the time you retire at night, you're tired. If you're not tired, do not force yourself to sleep. There is work that still needs to
go ahead. That's right.
Because I've found that sometimes I struggle to get to bed before 1. Struggle. It doesn't happen for me. It's just struggle. However, if I have to take a little extra time in the morning, I take it. But I'm not going to my bed at night if I have things that I need to do and boxes I need to do.
Go ahead, sir.
So for us to have the level of books that Brother shared with us today, that takes hard, committed work. So let's go hard and let's stay committed and let's enjoy the blessings and pass them down to the